Alright, so we're going to start removing the exhaust. First thing I'm going to start removing is the rear, the catback. So what I'm doing now is I already got the front lifted up nice and high. I'm lifting the back up. I'm going to get it on jack stands, and then I'm going to use my jack to support the weight of the rear so that once I disconnect it I can lower it with the jack so it doesn't slam down on the ground. It is kind of heavy. I'll get this up. Alright, so got to remove the entire exhaust because we're doing twin turbos and downpipes. So we're going to start off on the back here. You see we got the jack to support the weight of the muffler because it is kind of heavy. We're going to remove our clips here for the valves. This is pretty simple. You just push this little connector in and that pops out. We'll tuck this somewhere so it ain't in the way. Perfect. Same thing on this side. Pop this out. And we'll tuck this up in here so that's not in the way. Okay, and now we're going to disconnect the clamps. Alright, so I already have a IRL V2 modular mid pipe. So I have a new brace here, and basically when you have the stock exhaust you have to cut your exhaust to bolt up to the mid pipe, and they provide the clamps. So first thing I want to do is remove the muffler. So I'm going to disconnect these clamps here. They're 13 millimeters. I'm going to free these up, and then there's the exhaust hanger brackets. There's two of them, 13 millimeters, and then there's two more in the back. Once I get those freed up, I have the whole thing supported with my jack. I can then lower my jack and remove the whole muffler nice and easily without struggling. So loosen these. Alright, so you're going to need an extension for the exhaust hanger brackets with the 13. I got these impact wobble extensions. Pretty cool. Alright, so now we'll move up here. You can see it's already loose here. So we got one here. 13. Okay. Put another on the side. Got another one here. Oh, not there. And now we'll go to the back all the way. See that it's all loose here. I might as well loosen these as well. So let's get these loose as well. While we're here, these are also 13s. Alright, so now we'll move to the front and get the last two. There's two 13 millimeter nuts, and then we can drop the whole muffler. Alright, so we got two nuts to remove here, and then we can take our muffler down. They're also 13s. 1, And we'll have to go on that side. Alright, so now we're going to get our last nut here. Alright, so now we got all of the nuts and clamps down. And now we can go nice and slow with the jack and lower our whole muffler. This is weight reduction at its finest level. Alright, so now we got the muffler down. Now I can move this out the way. And now I can pull the muffler. Oh, it's already down, so I can remove the jack and just pull it right down. So, over here. Move this out of the way. So what I do here, it's kind of like this. Get our jack out of the way. And now I can go down here and just disconnect it. It's still connected here. Get over there, pull everything down. Room here. Alright, so got the muffler down. I'll pull this out and probably stick this on the side of my house for now. Alright, we're good. Alright, so now we're going to remove our mid pipe. We got these 13s here for the bracket. Three on each side, 13 millimeters. Move our plate. Thank you, IRL, for making the best exhaust. Okay, so now we'll remove this plate. We gotta remove our clamp here. It's also a 13. hot. You can see the sweat dripping out of my gloves. Sometimes these get stuff. You gotta kind of manipulate them a little bit. So there we go. Pop out there. We'll get our nut back on there. Alrighty. Now we'll remove this one. Which actually I might have to remove, I think the dump is 3.5, so I might have to dump it from here instead of there. I gotta see. Oops. Alright, so that's out. 2 pieces. Alright, so we're getting our mid pipe down. So there's a nut here. Everything's 13mm. Removed, and now there's 2 here and there's 2 for that one, and these connect directly to the downpipes. So what I do is use a little extension. I got these wobble extensions from Snap-on. Pretty cool. You can put your socket on and it's a wobble, or you double click it, it's just a regular extension. So, one of my favorite extensions ever. Snap-on wobble extensions. Alright, so we got one here. There's one. There's 2. Other one's a little bit trickier. One there. So now for this one, I got one here, which I'm going to leave for now. So then I want to remove this one, which for this one I kind of get in there with a wrench. So. Okay. These are tight. I highly recommend, if you're doing mid-pipe, use red Loctite when you're putting these bolts back in. They will come loose with engine vibration. So these are going to be kind of tight. I did Loctite them, but rather have them tight than loose, and creates a huge exhaust leak, and you will lose power. This probably not. No, you can't really get this with a... Well, that's enough of it, or I can get it with the gun now. Cool. Loosened it enough with the wrench. Now we can get it with this. Just impact it off. Down. One more nut here. Another thing I'm going to have to do is start removing these to remove this shield. We're going to have a lot more room to work with this shield being down to remove our downpipes. So we got one more nut here, and our mid pipe is fully removed. Alright. And there is the IRL V2 modular mid pipe. And here's our downpipes. To go. Alright, so now we're going to be removing our coolant reservoir and removing the downpipes from underneath. So we're going to free up some room because we're also removing the turbos. Those are getting replaced. So in order to free up some room here, we got to remove this reservoir. So to remove the reservoir, there's two little 10mm bolts here. There's a connector here, and you have to disconnect these hoses. You can pull the reservoir right up and out. So start off with removing this little hose here. Just a clip here. Probably up on the clip. And then you remove the clip, and now this comes out. Now we put the clip back down like so, so that's ready to be clipped back in, and we'll tuck this up out of the way. And we can remove this connector. Alright, so we got that connector off. Let's get the bottom one here. Same thing, pop the clip up. Alright, a little bit of coolant might leak out. Alright. Same thing, pop the clip back down. And we'll tuck this and move this out of the way. Alright, now we got our two pins here. One. Two. Either side. And now this is this little rubber grommet here. Pull up, pops right out. And now we can work on this connector. This stubborn connector here. Alright, so also got to remove this clip here. So I'm going to use this little panel popper tool. Pop that out. That just pops right back in. Now we can get this connector out. Alright, we pull this connector here. And move on to the side. Now we can remove. So now we got much easier vision and access. So this is one of our O2 sensor connectors for the downpipe. We know that it's basically routed up and through here. Comes around this clip here. Up on there, over there, up through here, and connects to this connector here. So we know that. That's where that's going to go back in. So we can slide this through here. And if that's the same way, we're going to put it back in. So it'll be easier to get out once we get the downpipe out. So now we just got our V-band clamps, which are 14 millimeter, pretty sure. Oh no, 13 millimeter, so we got a 13 here. So there's one here, and there's another one we got to get from the bottom. So we can remove this one here. 13. So we'll get this with our and that has to fully be removed. So alright, so here you can see this 13 millimeter. It's on the V-band clamp for one of the downpipes. So crack it loose, and then you can get in there by hand and just remove it. There's not much room to work in here, but it's not really that hard once you get it loose. It should come right out. Like so. Alright, there's one. Put that to the side. Alright, so we disconnected our O2 sensor connectors here. You're going to want to slide this up here. This little clip is mounted on this metal bracket. So when you slide this up, you tuck that out of the way, and you can pull your O2 wires down through here, and they're going to go back in the same way. But I'll pull those down, free them up. Alright, so now our O2 sensor wires are free, and that first downpipe's ready to come down. So it won't get tied up on anything, and the downpipe can just come right down. Let's tuck that over there. And there is also clips on the bottom that we'll have to show you that you have to remove the O2 sensor wiring from, that keep it from sitting on the engine block. But the main thing here is pulling this little clip, pulling this up, so you can slide your O2 sensor connectors through here. Alright, so now we're going to go on the bottom, remove our other V-band clamp, and remove the V-band clamps completely so we can pull the downpipes down. Alright, we got our stock downpipes out. These are the new ones. We got IRL, high flow. So we are unlocking the computer, so now we're going to swap over our O2 sensors into the new ones. And we're also going to be swapping over these gaskets. These are going to go, pop this out. If your gaskets are extremely worn out, you gotta replace them. This car only has like 14,000 miles on it, so I'm just going to reuse them. Still in good shape. So we're gonna put this on the new one here. Alright. Now And just remember, you got to make sure you put them in the right places. So, clean that up a little bit. Put that right in there. Snug it up. Alright, nice and tight. This one. Clean this up. And now we have no more use for this stock cat / downpipe. Set that aside. We'll get our other sensor in here. Nice and snug. So this one's done and ready to put this back in the car once we finish the turbos. Slide that over and get to the next one here. Same thing, remember you got your port with the port, so we know our upper one is going to go in here. Alright, that one's good. There we go. Alright. Wipe this down. Snug this up. Alright. Now I'll put these aside, start pulling the turbos.